We're not going to start with some grand theory. We're going to start with a feeling that might just be sitting there in the back of your mind, one you probably know all too well. It's that slow, creeping realization that the map of the world you're so carefully drawing, it just doesn't match the one anyone else seems to be using. And that forces us to confront a really terrifying possibility. What if the one thing our culture worships, the thing we're told is the ultimate prize, our intelligence? What if it isn't a gift at all? What if it's the real source of our deepest, most isolating pain? I mean, have you ever felt that? That weird, grinding friction between the world as you see it and the world everyone else seems to be living in so effortlessly. It's this profound sense of alienation, right? Instead of feeling powerful with all this insight, you just feel burdened. You see the invisible threads connecting history to this moment, psychology to politics, biology to our desires, and that's the crucial part. It becomes this silent, crushing weight because you can't just turn it off. You can't not see, you can't not think, and you can't stop understanding just a little too much. This image just captures that feeling of dislocation perfectly. Think about it. You're at a party, listening to the pleasant, predictable chatter, and suddenly an invisible wall just goes up. And it's not arrogance. It's like you're watching a play. Everyone else knows their lines, they're all performing beautifully, but you're somehow stuck backstage, seeing all the ropes, the pulleys, and the flimsy cardboard sets. You see how the whole illusion is put together. And every now and then, you try. You try to talk about what you see from backstage. You try to share a more complex idea, to point out the machinery humming behind the curtain. And what do you get? Blank stares, that uncomfortable silence. In a world of curated perfection and simple narratives, you are the glitch in their simulation. You're a walking error message that threatens the whole program. So what do? You learn to stay quiet. And believe me, this isn't just some modern anxiety, it's a deep philosophical wound. So to really understand this wound, we have to turn to the philosopher who diagnosed it with just brutal, unflinching honesty, Arthur Schopenhauer. Now, he wasn't just some pessimist. He was one of history's most insightful minds, who built his entire philosophy on the certainty that intelligence was, in fact, a bourbon. Just let that land for a second. Schopenhauer argued, with chilling precision, that the people who see reality most clearly aren't destined for happiness or success. No, they are condemned. Condemned to suffer more, to feel more isolated, and to be permanently and profoundly misunderstood by the very society they're a part of. And this brings us to this huge chasm between the promise of intelligence and the reality of living with it. On one side, we have the promise we're all sold, right? Clarity, power, the ability to see the truth. That's the dream. But on the other side is Schopenhauer's reality. That clarity, it brings an increased capacity for suffering. That deeper understanding, it leads to social isolation. And seeing the truth doesn't make you a revered sage, it makes you an outcast. So if intelligence creates this massive divide, where does the pain really come from? I mean, why does seeing more of reality have to lead to so much suffering? Well, according to Schopenhauer, it's baked into the very architecture of our perception. It's not just that intelligent people think differently, it's that they are living in a fundamentally different reality. Schopenhauer used this incredible metaphor to explain it all. He said, the human mind is like a boat sailing on the ocean of existence. Now, most people, they never venture far from the coast. They stay in the shallow, sunlit waters. The sailing there is easy, the landmarks are familiar, and there are tons of other boats around. It's the realm of conventional thinking. It's safe, and it's comfortable. But the intelligent mind, it just can't stay near the shore. Its relentless curiosity acts like an inescapable current, pulling it out, way out, into the open ocean. And out there, it's a completely different world. The waves of doubt are monstrous, there are no lighthouses, and you are face to face with the infinite, often terrifying, expanse of reality. You're simply not sailing the same ocean as everyone else. So why do most people stay near the shore? Schopenhauer's answer is one of his most powerful ideas, the will to live. He believes that at the core of every living thing is this blind, irrational force just pushing it to survive, to reproduce, and to avoid pain. And here's the crucial part for us today. This will does not care about truth. Not one bit. In fact, uncomfortable truths about our mortality, about the universe's indifference, are often its greatest enemy. It prefers a comforting lie to a painful fact every single time. This leads us directly to what we can call the Schopenhauerian scale. It's an iron law of existence, really. On one side, you have ignorance. Yeah, there's a low level of clarity about reality, but as a direct result, there's a very high potential for what we call bliss. But on the other side is wisdom. Here you have high clarity, you see the world stripped at its comforting illusions, but the cost is enormous. Your potential for simple happiness is, well, unavoidably low.
But the problem actually goes deeper than that. It's not just that the world is indifferent to the thinker's lonely journey into the deep ocean. No, the world isn't just indifferent, it's actively hostile.
See, the problem isn't just a passive separation. It's an active, aggressive persecution. Schopenhauer saw that society has this ruthless immune system we can call the tyranny of mediocrity, and it's designed to neutralize any threat to its stability. And the thinker, the one who points out that the emperor has no clothes, is seen as a direct threat to the collective illusions that hold everything together.
And this isn't some new phenomenon. We see this tragic, repeating pattern woven all through human history. Socrates, sentenced to death for teaching people to question. Giordano Bruno, burned alive for suggesting an infinite universe. Galileo, persecuted for proving we revolve around the sun. Nietzsche, who died alone, ridiculed as a madman. These weren't people who were wrong, they were people who were right way too soon.
So, given this reality, the isolation, the suffering, the active hostility, the situation can feel pretty hopeless, right? I mean, what can you possibly do? Well, Schopenhauer's answer isn't about changing the world. He proposed something far more radical, a personal, internal rebellion. The core idea is this: if the world won't make a place for you, then you have to create a new world for yourself. You have to stop playing that frantic, endless game of seeking external validation. You must turn inward and build a fortress of the mind, making yourself immune to the system from the inside out. And this rebellion, it has a practical blueprint. First, you have to embrace solitude as freedom. In our hyper-connected world, that is a revolutionary act. For the thinker, solitude isn't a punishment. It's the sacred space you need to explore your own mind. Second, seek refuge in art and philosophy. When you're lost in music, art, or a great idea, you temporarily escape the brutal striving of the will. And third, and this is the toughest one, reject happiness, accept serenity. You have to stop chasing the marketing lie of constant pleasure and instead cultivate a stable, internal peace. Okay, so we've traced this really difficult journey from the burden of understanding too much all the way to this strategy of solitary rebellion. But what's the ultimate payoff? What do you find when you actually turn your back on the common world? It's something profound, a unique and powerful kind of freedom. And this freedom, it comes from a place of radical acceptance. See, most people are crushed by the constant battle between their expectations and reality, but the thinker who follows this path finds freedom by just letting go. You stop demanding the world be just or rational. And in that raw, unflinching acceptance, you find an incredible, unshakable strength. You become immune. This right here is the ultimate shift in perspective. You stop being an actor desperately trying to win a rigged game. Instead, you move into the audience. You become a spectator. You can watch the grand play of life, the comedies, the tragedies, with this detached curiosity, without being personally destroyed by it. Your serenity, it comes from within. And so, we're left with a final, pretty haunting question. After weighing all of this, the isolation and the suffering on one hand, and the profound freedom of detachment on the other, if you were given a choice, right now, what would you do? Would you go back to that comfortable, sunlit shoreline and just forget the terrifying ocean? You know, there's no easy answer. It forces us to weigh the very meaning of a worthwhile life. Is it better to be a happy fool or an unhappy Socrates? The choice and the curse is yours.